Welcome to the latest episode of DIFC Unplugged. I have here with me Mr. Owais Ansari of Munich Re Underwriting in DIFC. Welcome, Owais.
Thank you very much for having me here.
So, by way of introduction, can you tell us about what Munich Re does in the DIFC and what your role is and what your offering is in the center?
So I think for people who don't know, I hope they all know about Munich Re, but if they don't know about Munich Re, Munich Re is the world's leading reinsurer. They have been in business for more than 140 years as a risk manager. And in DIFC, we have been placed since 2010, offering life and health reinsurance solutions for Middle East and African markets. The life insurance solutions are more focused for the Middle East and North African markets, and the health insurance solutions are for Middle East and entire African markets. If you look at our offerings on the life insurance side, we covered the entire individual life, group life, group credit life, and on the health insurance, we have the entire suite of solutions for the health insurance. And what really adds value is that we have got our own TPA as well, which is owned by Munich Re, Mednet, regionally headquartered out of UAE as well, and a health tech entity, Munich Re Health Tech, out of Greece. So with these three entities, which is our reinsurance solutions out of DIFC, Mednet, and MRHT, we have a very nice interlock business model, which allows us to offer a 360-degree approach to our clients, understanding their needs and offering the right solutions. In addition to the life and health solutions, we also have a very unique proposition in this market, which I think none of the other reinsurers has in the moment, which is our financially motivated reinsurance solutions, which has been doing quite well and picking up in this market. If you look at, in addition to the reinsurance solutions, we've also got a lot of other services on a digital solution side. And these cover solutions which are on the automated underwriting, on the portfolio management, on fraud and waste and abuse detection. They also allow you to have data analytics and AI-based solutions which can be incorporated into your overall strategy. From a business perspective, that's how we are structured. My role, so I'm heading the MENA region, and I look after these three entities. Plus, I'm also responsible for the Munich Re Takaful, which is based out of Malaysia. But this is one of the key market for it because Takaful is quite a growing field for us. It's Munich Re Group.
Wow, that's a full suite and offering from Munich Re. Of course, that's expected from a brand such as yours. I see that you don't leave any stone unturned with opportunities that are available in this market. Now, let's talk about trends and headwinds. What do you see are the key trends and challenges for the health insurance business that you guys, or at least some of your competitors as well, are facing these days?
So health insurance has been one of our core offering in the region, and I think we have been involved in the evolution of the whole health insurance business in this market. If you take a step back, if you look at the healthcare business, I think the healthcare business currently is around $245 billion in the GCC, and in the MENA actually. And it has grown quite steadily with a CAGR of around 12% in the last 5 years. The health insurance business has also followed the same trajectory. It's been growing year on year quite steadily. Currently, I think if you look at the insurance business in the region, approximately 50 billion is what you see as a premium. 40% of that is contributed by health insurance medical business, basically. And if you look from the perspective of how the business has grown, when you have such a growth, you have some key trends and key challenges which actually shape up the future of this business. From the perspective of the trends, I would say the digital transformation, and that's one of the key areas. That has been evolving like every other industry. I think that has touched the insurance industry, specifically on the health insurance side. There are two aspects on the digital transformation. One is on the front end, which is basically the touch points to the customer, which is either through these interactive chatbots or having these mobile apps which are tracking your health insurance, your health actually utilizations. And then you have a second aspect of that, which is through the telehealth, which is developing quite steadily in the region. It's not used that widely, but it's developing quite smoothly. Then you have the back end transformation which has happened, which is on the all the key insurance companies have invested significantly on the digital side. If you look at it, the investments are more driven to make sure that you have a very specific approach to administration and claims management, which enhances the value for the customer. Then a second aspect of that is the data and AI implementation. And that data analytics and AI that they're bringing in, because the idea is to approach the customer in the risk assessment phase and to offer them a customized solution on the overall insurance side. That is where you see the big trend on the digital transformation. Then you have the regulatory development. I think there's been an evolving regulatory environment, and you can see most of the countries are gradually moving towards a mandatory insurance cycle, especially on the health insurance front. Uh, and that has grown the market significantly. In addition to the regulatory side, you have a big trend which post-COVID everybody has experienced, which is the increasing healthcare cost. And this is coming in as a direct impact on the premium, because that has stressed the margins the insurance and the reinsurance companies had, and now that is affecting the premium. That's why if you see, I remember last year there was some, even on the some of the major daily newspapers over here, there were headlines around the high growth on insurance premium, and that is driven by high inflation and utilization that has happened on the health insurance side. So that's one key trend that you can see. Then you have also on the data security and cyber security, because you're dealing with, in the health insurance, you have high volume and high frequency and of utilization. So you have a lot of data that is coming in to the insurance and reinsurance companies. You need to have infrastructures that are able to keep them safe and have a right utilization of it in the right proper manner. That is where the investments are also going in. And I think two aspects which everybody sees is the competition. Sometimes you have an oversupply, which stresses the pricing and eventually the performance. And secondly, or lastly, the workforce. You don't find a lot of talented people who are experienced on the health insurance management and value-based care approach. And that is what you can see gradually coming up in this market. This is what you see in this space. But I think if you go beyond the MENA region, I think globally, as I mentioned, value-based care is what is picking up now. That is an aspect which we see which is defined more by the outcome than by a fee-for-service where you have services. That is what is picking up. Eventually, it will be something which you have to see in this region as well. Then you have more customized offering, where people are looking for more customized individual offering. That is something which is also you see in the international markets. Then one of the aspect is management of these critical illnesses. That is also a developing factor. So overall, the health insurance sector, you have challenges, but the trend is of growth, and it will continue to grow, I think, this market.
Well, that's very encouraging to hear. And it's quite fascinating to hear from you all of these insights that you've shared. But I want to touch upon one specific aspect that you have mentioned, along the lines of trends, which is AI. How do you think AI is reshaping or redirecting or focusing on reinsurance and the way forward?
So I think now I've been working almost for the last 26 years, and I remember throughout my working career, there's always some theme of technology which keeps the people globally as well as the professionals in our financial industry always excited about what is the future. But I think if you look at today, where we stand with AI, that really is a turning phase for the entire world, I think. And that's even I was reading a McKinsey report, and they were highlighting that for the GCC region, the adoption of AI should be able to contribute approximately $150 billion, which is around 9% of the overall GDP of GCC. So the importance of AI is there. Sometimes in the business, especially in the, I would say in insurance sector, I've seen the AI word being used quite generously. There has to be distinction between digitalization and implementation of AI. AI is there. I think people are using it, and you can see the results of AI as well. I would say if we take a entire journey of how the insurance business operates, AI has a very important role to play in the initial risk assessment and underwriting part, because AI is able to help the insurance companies and as well as the reinsurance companies to assess the risk in a more specific manner with the data point that it has and whatever machine learning has adopted to, and come out with solutions which are very specific, the right pricing approach. I think at Munich Re level, I think we have a underwriting tool at in Singapore, which we are rolling it out in Asia, which has already embedded the entire AI underwriting
Fascinating.
in the life underwriting. So that's something which you can see is implementation. Then you have customer service. At the customer service, you also need to have, again, as I mentioned, this high volume, high frequency business. So you need to be able to cater to the high volume interaction with the clients. And that is where AI through virtual assistants and interactive chatbots is able to cater to a very smooth customer experience and communication. That is one aspect. Then one in the insurance field, specifically on the health insurance side, what we see is there's fraud and waste and abuse is one of the key areas which everybody has been wondering about and how to tackle them. There are a lot of tools which are available, and these tools have been implemented, and people have been able to make a good progress on this side. AI enables those tools and those solutions to actually go one step beyond. And if you are able to have a fraud detection on a real-time basis because of the machine learning that has been there, that takes away a lot of the losses. Because eventually, whenever you have these FWA, the fraud, waste, and abuse losses, somebody has to pay for them, and eventually the whole community is paying for them indirectly. And by controlling this, you are actually improving the pricing for the rest of the people as well. So that's one aspect. And then I would say on the technology side, the claims processing. When you buy insurance, or when you buy a water bottle, you get the water immediately. But when you buy insurance, you don't buy a tangible product.
Indeed.
What you buy is a promise.
Correct.
And the promise to have is to get the claim paid. And this is where, as an insurance and the reinsurance provider as well, what is important for the end customer is that he's getting his claims paid, processed in the timely manner and in a fair manner. And this is where AI again makes life easier from a reinsurer and insurer perspective to have the claim process smooth, streamlined, and timely. So I think that's the entire journey from an insurance perspective. But there's some aspects which are more specific for the reinsurance side. I would say from a reinsurance perspective, AI helps us a lot on the risk modeling. We are able to have a more specific risk modeling approach. It also helps us in the pricing optimization. We are able to have very specific pricing which can be done because of the big data that is there and the deep data which we can analyze. And finally, also to have a more customized offering that we can offer to our clients, both at the primary level and to the end customers.
That's really fascinating to hear, because effectively my takeaway from this is that AI is going to be and will remain to be an integral, part of the whole, value chain, and it will absolutely help a lot of stakeholders, especially within the industry.
And I think just to add to that, I was again in one of the reports, I was saying that the adoption of AI in GCC actually exceeds that of what is in Europe or North America or Asia Pacific. And that just goes on to see how we can actually, within the MENA region, you're able to bring in solutions which some of the other regions are still lacking behind. Yeah.
Yeah, well, excited to see, the rest of the transformation that would happen to be brought upon by AI as well. Now, let's talk more about the region because you've mentioned, the region and the scope that you have in here. So, how is your outlook on the life and health reinsurance in the region, and what do demographic developments in the region mean for you?
If you look at the region we are in, this is one of the few regions which, while the global markets have, or global, if you look at a number of countries which have been challenged, even the developed world or the developing world financially, I think this region has been flourishing, and this is owing to the growth agenda that has been pushed by the two big countries over here, with Saudi Arabia and UAE, really driving the force and taking the whole MENA region, or the GCC and plus MENA region, forward. So that effective implementation of these diversification from the oil-based economy, and also the effective growth plans which have very concrete initiative backing them, that has brought in financial activity level which is not seen before, and that is adding to the growth in population. So you can see the population is increasing, and that increase in population is growing the demand for the health and life insurance. Life insurance still lagging behind, but health insurance really is going at a very growing at a very good pace. What we also see is, in addition to the growth driven by the region, you also see the overall demographics. The median age for MENA region is 27 years old. If you compare that with Europe, it's 44. If you compare also that within the MENA region, a quarter of the population is in the age band 10 to 24. And that contributes to the growing market and the demand that is going to be coming. And with the new regulations that have come in, which is really making health insurance mandatory, you see the growth in business automatically driven. So the current growth has been there. Even going forward, there's a good development which you can see because the market itself is growing. You see the population dynamics are going in the right direction, and you see the government's also emphasizing the need for having insurance. You also see a number of mandatory insurance benefit being brought in. You see a push towards mental health insurance. You see a push towards specific insurance sectors as well, sectors in the community. So that is driving the growth, and they will continue to drive the growth going forward.
That's wonderful to hear. It's a lot of room for, I guess, growth because, as you have said, that's the trajectory of this region. And finally, my last question for you, Owais, is what role can financial reinsurance solutions play in strengthening the insurance industry in this region within the same theme, of course, of the region per se that we're talking about?
So reinsurance always has been seen as a solution which was more for biometric risk, which is basically mortality, morbidity, or longevity, where you transfer these risks to the reinsurer, and that is what historically has been the solutions that were provided by the insurance, in addition to the services that came with that. What has evolved in the mature market, but now is evolving in the MENA region and the GCC region, is basically the need to have a reinsurance solutions which are catered more towards the CEO and the CFO. Because as a CEO and a CFO, you're not only looking at the risk part of the business which is linked to the biometrics risk, you're looking at the risk which is there from a capital management, from a solvency management. You're looking at how the distribution and marketing growth has to be financed. You're looking at M&A transactions. You're looking at a number of cash flow needs that might arrive when you're growing. So all of these issues which are there on the table of a CEO or a CFO, this is what the financial reinsurance solution can really cater to. And this is what we have already implemented in the rest of the world and have made successful development of this business in this region over the last 5 years. You are able, using the financial reinsurance solutions, you're able to help insurance companies in the capital management, enabling them on solvency support. You can enable growth whenever they have a growth initiative where they're looking for support. That's where reinsurance can come in with a financial solution. IFRS 17, which has been recently introduced, we are, I would say, the only reinsurer in the region who has actually successfully implemented a solution on IFRS 17 with a company in the GCC. Also, for merger and acquisition, if you see the market over here, there's a lot of consolidation that is possible and is going to be happening. So, financial insurance solution also supports in the FinRe on the M&A transactions. Whether you're acquiring a company or a portfolio, the financial reinsurance can come in and support an insurance company in going ahead with the transaction without impacting a lot of their own capital or on a solvency side. So the FinRe business is really a business which has really become one of the key pillars in Munich Re world globally, and within the MENA region, we see the same trajectory now. It's now starting to be a market which accepts solution and sees the benefit out of the solution for the growth that is supposed to be there.
Well, lots of insightful and salient points. Really appreciate your time and ways today. And that wraps up our DIFC Unplugged episode.